Daniel Arap Moi was born on September 2, 1924, in Kamagut, Kenya. He was a prominent political figure who served as Kenya's president from 1978 to 2002. He was vice president to President Jomo Kenyatta, and following the death of Kenyatta in 1978, he became the president of Kenya. Note that two other persons had served as vice president under Kenyatta before Arap Moi, namely Jaramogi Odinga and Joseph Murumbi. But Arap Moi was the one in office at the time of Kenyatta's demise. Arap Moi's presidency is notable for its long duration, complex legacy, and significant impact on Kenyan politics, society, and the economy. In this edition of Back in History, we'll take you back in time to the life and times of Daniel Arap Moi, the second president of the Republic of Kenya. Welcome to this edition of Back in History. Arap Moi was born into a modest family and was a member of the Kalenjin ethnic group. His father was a cattle rearer, and growing up, Moi accompanied his father to the bushes with his herd of cattle, and later on in his life, Moi himself also took cattle to the bushes for grazing. Moi attended the African Mission School in Kabatonjo. It was here that he became a Christian. Moi later attended Tambak Teachers Training College, from where he qualified as a teacher and from where he gained experience in leadership roles. Moi's political journey began when he joined the Kenya African National Union, KANU, in the 1960s, which was the dominant political party at the time, advocating for independence from British colonial rule. Following Kenya's independence in 1963, he was appointed the Minister of Home Affairs, where he played a key role in internal security matters. In 1964, Daniel Arap Moi was appointed Vice President of Kenya under President Jomo Kenyatta. This position enabled him to gain considerable influence in the government and solidify his political standing in Kenya. After the death of Jomo Kenyatta, Arap Moi ascended to the presidency. His assumption of power came at a time when the country was grappling with issues of democracy, governance, and economic challenges. Initially, he was seen as a uniting figure who could bridge the gaps created during Kenyatta's presidency. However, his leadership style evolved over time, and Arap Moi was criticized by many as being an authoritarian leader. In 1982, Moi's government faced a failed coup attempt led by a faction of the Kenyan military. The incident was a turning point for his presidency. In its aftermath, Moi cracked down on dissent, leading to the suspension of constitutional freedoms and the establishment of a one-party state in Kenya. The Kenya African National Union, KANU, became the only legal political party in the country, and opposition parties were banned. During Moi's presidency, Kenya faced significant economic challenges, including allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and declining agricultural productivity. His government sought to implement various economic reforms, but these often fell short of expectations. Moi pursued policies that promoted agricultural development, but inefficiencies and corruption undermined these initiatives. The economy entered a period of stagnation during the late 1980s and early 90s, marked by rising poverty levels, unemployment, and a declining standard of living for many Kenyans. Despite external pressure from international organizations, including the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the World Bank, to adopt structural adjustment programs, genuine economic reforms were slow. The late 1980s and early 1990s saw increasing calls for political reforms and the restoration of multi-party democracy in Kenya. The pressure for change grew from civil society, religious groups, and the international community. In 1991, facing mounting dissent and international pressure, Moi announced the reintroduction of multi-party politics, leading to the re-legalization of opposition parties. The subsequent elections in 1992 were Kenya's first multi-party elections since the 1960s. However, there were allegations of malpractices, intimidation, violence, but Moi secured a victory that was highly controversial. Moi's presidency was plagued by ethnic tensions, especially during election periods. The government was accused of manipulating ethnic divisions for political gains. Violence during the 1992 and 1997 elections led to significant loss of life and displacement of many communities. His administration struggled to address the underlying issues of ethnic inequalities and grievances, which continued to escalate over time in Kenya. As Moi entered his final years in power, his popularity continued to decline. Corruption allegations, human rights abuses, and economic mismanagement were rampant and frequently reported in the media, and this greatly tarnished his image. Opposition parties gained momentum, and civil society groups called for accountability and political reforms. They also called for Moi to leave power to the next generation of politicians. The 1997 election marked a significant moment in Kenyan history. Moi faced a united opposition coalition but managed to win again amidst allegations of electoral malpractices. His leadership faced increasing scrutiny and the calls for reform intensified. Despite the mounting criticisms against Moi, Moi remained in office as president of Kenya and went about his work undaunted. He had been in power for so long and had consolidated himself in the politics of his country. He understood the games of politics and played it effectively at every given moment. Some people even called him Professor of Politics. From 1981 to 1983, he served as chairperson of the Organization of African Unity, now known as the African Union. In 2002, Moi stepped down from the presidency after serving for 24 years. He did not seek re-election. Rather, he chose to support Uhuru Kenyatta, son of his former boss, as his preferred successor. Uhuru ran for the presidency under the Kenyan African National Union, KANU. Uhuru, however, lost to Moi Kibaki, the candidate from the opposition coalition. Upon handing over to Moi Kibaki, Moi's presidency effectively came to a close. His exit marked the end of an era in Kenyan politics. He was a president who was roundly criticized by many for most of his policies, but also celebrated and loved by others. He was a colossus in the politics of Kenya, and his name remained recurring for many years. After leaving office, President Arap Moi retired from active politics but remained a significant figure in the Kenyan society. He engaged in various philanthropic activities and was involved in education and health initiatives. He also played a role in promoting peace and reconciliation in the region, particularly in neighboring countries like Sudan. His post-presidency years were characterized by occasional public appearances and involvement in community projects. Moi was often regarded as a wise elder statesman by most segments of the Kenyan society. Despite the challenges and criticisms associated with his time in office, arap Moi's legacy is a complex tapestry of achievements and also criticisms. He is credited with maintaining stability in a country characterized by ethnic diversity and political volatility. His push for education and infrastructural development laid foundations for future generations. Daniel Arap Moi remains an influential figure in Kenya's history. His presidency had a profound impact on the nation, shaping its political landscape and societal dynamics. He played a crucial role in Kenya's journey towards independence and development. His life story reflects a journey from the humble beginnings to the heights of power and influence, leaving an indelible mark on Kenya's narrative. Arap Moi had the grace of a long and fulfilled life. He was 95 years old when he passed on February 4, 2020. Arap Moi was married to Lena Moi. Arap had 4 children, namely Gideon Moi, John Moi, Raymond Moi, and Philip Moi. Many thanks for watching this edition of Back in History, and do remember to subscribe to the channel or follow the page for regular notification on every new video. I remain your friend and host Ekemi Udim, wishing you the best of time as you continue to journey with me in our mission to document and preserve the history of the vast continent of Africa.